Aristotle and the Study of Virtue by Dave, Hugh, Dan, Jason, and Matt.
Who was Aristotle? Aristotle is known to be one of the most famous philosophers of all time. He is a Greek philosopher born around 384 BC and died around 322 BC. He is famous for tutoring Alexander the Great, as well as working among Socrates and Plato. He also created a school in Athens, Greece, where he worked for the remainder of his life.
Aristotle believed that knowledge could be attained through interaction with physical objects. He studied meteorology, marine life, and life on land. Aristotle coined the term syllogism. Syllogism is a form of reasoning in which a conclusion is drawn from two given or assumed propositions, each of which shares a term with the conclusion and shares a common term not present in the conclusion. For example, if a dog has 4 legs and a dog is an animal, then all animals have 4 legs. While this may not be true, syllogism still proves true in other aspects of life. Similar to the transitive property in math, Aristotle also introduced Nicomachean ethics. Nicomachean ethics is his theory of happiness, stating that if one attains money, pleasure, and honor, they have reached a true state of happiness. Aristotle also believed in consequence. He believed that people deserve punishment equivalent to the crimes they have committed. While in Athens, Aristotle studied with Socrates. Socrates was so engaged with his belief in consequence that he carried out his own execution.
What is virtue ethics? Virtue ethics can be described as character over duty. Character, in this context, means characteristics, such as fearless, venturous, bold, or offensive, mean, and rude. Character over duty basically means someone's character will come before them in an ethical decision over what duty they have. We'll get into more examples later, but Aristotle declared that a virtuous person is one who has ideal character traits. We'll also talk about this more. What are considered good characteristics, you may be wondering? Well, back in the time of Aristotle, he decided to create his cardinal virtues. These are the virtues that he thought were the best ones. These include wisdom, prudence, magnanimity, magnificence, liberality, courage, temperance, justice, and fortitude. These were the words that he thought if they could describe a person, they would be the best characteristics and someone with good virtue. So compared to someone that could have mean or annoying or jealous type of characteristics, this would be the person that would get the ethical argument. So when we talk about those arguments later, the people with these types of values or related would be the better ones. Here are some examples. St. Peter's Prep scholarships. What makes one student more worthy of a scholarship than another who could be smarter? Well, that is a really hard question when you think about it, but we'll cover that in a sec. So what would Aristotle do? Well, that's the whole point of our presentation, to view it in his ethical standard. So Aristotle would say, it's all about the characteristics. For example, if two people, one with a higher position and one with a low position, they both did their jobs, but only one employee would get a raise, who would get this raise? Well, if you think about it, Aristotle would say, whoever did the job best, whether the higher position could have been saving the whole entire company, or the lower position just packing some boxes. If the lower position did much better, cared much more about it, and had to do more things that good character would do, then he would be the one that gets the raise, not the duty, which is characteristics over duty. But what about St. Peter's Prep situation? Well, that is another story. Here's an example. If Student 1, for say, did really well on the co-op exam. He got almost a perfect score, but he was a really cocky person who may have not studied at all and just knew he would get a full scholarship. Now let's compare this to another student who was maybe born under other circumstances, had to work extremely hard to get to this point. He may have only gotten an average grade on the co-op and did not get a scholarship, but worked much harder, and the significance of the scholarship would be worth much more to him. Now, which one should it go to? According to Aristotle, it should be the lower grade person, because they deserve the scholarship more, since they put their hard work into it and it's worth more to them. So what would you do? Would you be the one to give it to the person that worked harder, who wants it and needs it more? Or would you give it to the person that's just plain right smarter and actually got the scholarship? This depends on what type of ethical standards you have. You could be following virtue ethics like Aristotle and believes it goes to the person with the best character, or you could believe it goes to the person with the best duty, or the person that was most qualified, which in this case would be the student that got the scholarship. So it's really up to you what type of ethical decisions you make, and if you follow Aristotle's train of ethical thought or not. Some criticisms. Aristotle does not bother with dignity of person. What this means is that, yes, that one person did work harder, but the other person, all in all, did get a better grade. So the smarter person should get the scholarship. But according to Aristotle, it's based on the character and not the duty. Just like in the workplace, where even though a person could have saved a company, he may have not gotten it because he didn't do it as well as the other person. Here is a quote in which explains the relationship between an individual's moral substance and the actions. Here are our sources, and thank you for watching.